Forward a bullet. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3.
Let's start from the top then.
Okay.
When did you sort of realize that the album was piecing together?
Okay.
That you were.
That's a good question. Yeah. So with Yellow, at least, I made one song, which is the title track, Yellow. And from there, I was like, I kind of touched on an idea with like Yellow being just this feeling of fulfillment and relief and joy. And when I made that first song, I was like, that has to be the whole album. I came home on spring break and I was like, I need to just like get my shots off. Like I need to make music. I made this song called Right Next to Canada. I don't know if I sent either of you that. So that one was pretty good. It didn't make the album. The next day, I was like, I'm gonna make another song today, hopefully. I made John Deere on the second night. And then third night, I was just like, okay, I like have rhythm for like the first time in a while. Third night, I made Baby Knock Me Down. Fourth night was Turf.
I remember that after those two,
Yeah.
you were hyped, right?
Yeah, I was like, after John Deere and Baby Knock Me Down back to back, I was like, yo, like they're like, I gotta see how long I can do this for. Fifth night, I did the demo for Bear in the Sky. Once you have like 5 songs in 5 nights, you're like, what do I do with these? So I was like, I have half an album, I might as well just keep going. I'm gonna be home for months.
Yeah.
And they were all kind of like about childhood memories.
When did you have 99 Daydream?
99 Daydream I made in like the middle of the album process. Like after I had made that streak of 5 songs, I was like, well, it's gonna be an album, so one easy thing for me to do is like the intro. I kind of had like a 20th Century Fox like opening thing type sound in my head, so I just bought a sample from Tracklib.
Yeah, I was just about to ask about that sample. What is that sample?
It's called Every Little Beat of My Heart. I don't remember what the group's called, but it was just some shit. I was like scrolling on the main page on Tracklib and I was like, yo, this sounds crazy. And I was like, that would be really easy to chop because there's all those like big clean hits with like a lot of layers. So I just kind of rearranged it a lot. I sped it up like a tiny bit, but yeah, thanks.
And then lyrics, a lot of the tracks, memories, that tattoo memories, are more supposed to be like overarching, like here's what the album's about.
Recently, I've been trying to think of music like in more of like a cinematic way because I feel like if like songs are scenes in like a movie type thing. So I definitely was thinking if the album's a movie, then the intro is gonna be like, if we're thinking like Star Wars wise, it'd be like the crawl, where it's like explaining what's going on. So that one definitely wasn't tied to like a specific memory, but I just wanted to set the tone by just rapping about childhood, growing up in Maine and being like, this is my life. And now let's like go through it scene by scene. I need to make sure I stop on each song and at least talk about like one lyric. I talked about how I would just get bored in AP Stats and just leave in the middle and just go play basketball and say I was going to the bathroom.
How did you skip class to play basketball? Like you just straight up went to the gym?
Like people would not say anything when they'd go to the bathroom. So like I would just get up like I was going to the bathroom. And then one day Mr. Ditzel was like, Josh, why are you all sweaty? The theme of the album, obviously, 'cause it's in the title, is like daydreaming. Like that and like growing up and childhood. Because to me, what childhood is like the time that I could just space out and not have to worry about what was actually going on.
Yeah, adulting's hard.
Adulting is hard, yeah. Colleging is hard too, and it's like not the same thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's audio at the beginning of 99 Daydream of my friends laughing, and it was my friend Sam Walker was eating my grandma's cake. It was like in the middle of the night, like she had made pound cake and she's like the goat baker like ever. And she had made pound cake and Sam was eating it and he started crying because it was so good. He was like, yo, this is the best thing I've ever tasted. And someone took a snap of him and there's just like, everyone's geeking and there's tears running down his face. But it sounded to me like, because my parents were asleep, we were trying to be quiet. It sounded like a show was about to start and it was like quieting the crowd down. So that's why I put that in. It's like everyone laughing, like trying to hush up. And then the guy counts off like 1, 2, 3, 4 and the album starts. So that was just kind of a coincidence thing. But I just tried to like work my friends and family into the album.
Turf?
Yeah, Turf. So off rip, I just kind of want to talk about why there's a different version of Turf on the album.
I was wondering.
I like the album version, but it's shitty that I had to do it.
You had to do it?
Yeah, so what happened is I did the single with Spose, obviously.
Yeah.
And we released Is Turf by JR Specs and Spose, like a joint thing. So I was like, okay, so can we have the song with the 2 primary artists on my solo album? And DistroKid, our distributor, doesn't support that. So they were like, no. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna put an album version on. So I went back last minute, like the album was supposed to have already been submitted.
Damn, so you really whipped up.
Yeah, like made a beat. It was like a 3-hour thing. Like I made like a beat switch and then wrote about soccer, because that's what the song was about originally. I was like, what would I want on our warm-up playlist in high school for soccer? It was turf. So the album version, I just expanded on that. I talked about how much I love soccer on the back end, and then sent that in for the album, I guess.
I really like the album version. Very pretty.
Yeah, I didn't make that loop. I was like, yo, I gotta upload this shit now. So I just like pasted the drums, took out the snare, I think, left the clap in, and then I found like a loop that I could just stretch to fit that tempo. And then I was just like, all right, I'm not singing on this. I'm not gonna worry about like the key or anything. I'm just gonna rap. At the transition, you can hear the ref blows a whistle, and then you hear the crowd like kind of like groan. It's because I took a free kick and hit the post. It's like actual like audio from like one of my soccer games. So I was just trying to use like shit from real life in it. That one, the reason I like it is because you can hear both my parents in the song. Because when I like miss the shot, you can hear my dad go, oh, like really loud. And then at the end, my mom goes like, yeah, like at the very end of the game, like cheering us on. So that was kind of cool that I got them in the album.
And do you want to go into like how you got Spose on there?
I just DM'd him. Spose is the most popular rapper from Maine. I had wanted to work with Spose forever. So I had hit Spose, I think when I was in middle school, about doing a song together. Maybe when I was like 14. And what I ended up doing is I was like, I don't want to give him the chance to be like, oh, I remember this kid, and not even worry about it. So I just sent the file, and I was like, you should get on this. It was just like turf MP3 demo. So I don't know if you remembered that whole thing, but I had this phase where I was like, I need to get some clout even though I'm 14. So I was like messaging people trying to get collabs, but I don't know. He semi-remembered it. The biggest thing to me is if someone hits me up and they're like, you want to collab? You never should underestimate people, but there's sometimes just like you never heard of the person, or they don't have a lot of followers or something. Just like subconsciously you might be like who is this guy? Yeah. So if you put the music up front and you actually believe that it's good, like it'll just speak for itself. Because if you have a dope,
I had one free kick to hit the corner of the frame, and that's about as close as I came. But I was really winning when I think on it now. I was beaming looking up at the crowd.